Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Zimmerman. State Republicans gathering today for their convention in Appleton and laying the groundwork for the upcoming fall campaign. The event also raising questions about the party's finances and unity when it comes to support for presidential candidate Donald Trump and Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, who's now facing a second recall effort. New at 6, what was said, plus reaction from Democrats on the other side of the aisle.
With Republicans from every Wisconsin county gathering at the Fox Cities Exhibition Center Saturday, it was Senator Ron Johnson who was among the first to address delegates, saying he's not convinced President Joe Biden will be on the ballot this November.
We are ground zero in terms of battleground states. It is so crucial that we make sure that Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes get assigned to President Trump, not some Democrat nominee, whoever that may be.
One Republican noticeably absent was Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, who was booed at previous GOP state conventions and is now facing a second potential recall effort. In the race for U.S. Senate, Eric Hovde was officially endorsed, who also took aim at the media.
Look, I believe a democracy requires a vibrant and strong press. But to be that, you have to be fair and balanced. Hold me accountable, ask me hard questions, but do the same to Senator Baldwin, please.
At the time of this convention, state Republicans are at a significant disadvantage to Democrats when it comes to fundraising. The party chair vowing to make that money up between now and November.
The truth of the matter here is that this is not a 50-state campaign. It's a 7-state campaign, and Wisconsin is one of those 7 states. So I'm confident we'll have the resources we need. As you can tell from the crowd here today, we definitely have the energy we need.
Across the aisle, Democrats disagree and have outraised Republicans by a margin of nearly 15-1 through the end of March, according to WisPolitics.com.
The Republican Party of Wisconsin is bankrupt in every sense of the word. They're broke. They're beholden to Donald Trump and his bankrupt ideas, and they're politically bankrupt, representing an extreme agenda that has no resonance with the people of Wisconsin.
Democrats will hold their state convention the weekend of June 8th in Milwaukee, just 5 weeks ahead of the Republican National Convention in that same city. As we